Is the Moscow variation good for white? Have you ever wondered if the Moscow variation is a solid choice for white in chess? Let's break it down and see what makes this opening tick. The Moscow variation can be found in two main contexts, the Semi-Slav Defense and the Sicilian Defense. Each scenario has its own unique characteristics and strategies. Starting with the Semi-Slav Defense, the Moscow variation begins with the moves 1, pawn to d4, pawn to d5, pawn to c4, pawn to c6, knight to f3, knight to f6, knight to c3, pawn to e6, and bishop to g5. This opening is known for its sharp and complex nature. It often leads to dynamic middle game positions. White has the option to play the anti-Moscow gambit, which involves sacrificing a pawn. This gambit allows white to maintain the bishop pair and gain a development advantage. If black is not well prepared, this can create challenges for them. Now let's look at the Moscow variation against the Sicilian defense. Here, white plays 1, pawn to e4, pawn to c5, knight to f3, and pawn to d6, followed by bishop to b5. This move directly challenges black's control of the center and sets the stage for quick development. The main line usually continues with bishop to d7, bishop takes d7, and knight takes d7. In this position, white has the bishop pair, which can be a long-term advantage. However, black's position remains solid, and they can counterattack effectively if they manage to equalize. So, is the Moscow variation good for white? In both scenarios, it offers opportunities for a strong initiative and strategic play. In the Semi-Slav, the anti-Moscow gambit can be particularly effective, especially if black is caught off guard. Against the Sicilian, maintaining the bishop pair and focusing on central control can give white a solid foundation for their strategy. Overall, the Moscow variation can be a good choice for white, especially for players who enjoy dynamic positions and are open to taking risks. However, its success largely depends on how black responds and how well white can capitalize on the strategic advantages that this opening provides.